The Palestinian ambassador to South Africa, Hanan Jarrar, says the situation remains incredibly unstable in Gaza. She says Israel has intensified its air and ground offensive since the ceasefire collapse. The ambassador has also expressed gratitude to countries like South Africa for not abandoning their cause. Khayelihle Khumalo has more for us.
Well, indeed, the situation remains fairly precarious in Gaza and, of course, by and large, right in Palestine. And obviously, we've seen the intensification of the aerial and also the ground offensive by Israel in Gaza, but also a very, very unstable situation. You look at the aid that is fast running out, and to quote the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres saying that Gaza is still a killing field. But joining us now is Palestinian ambassador here in South Africa, Hanan Jarrar. So once again, ma'am, thank you so much for your time. First and foremost, let's look at the situation. Obviously, so much is happening in the world, but focusing on the situation in Gaza, ambassador, what's the latest there?
Thank you for hosting us. Unfortunately, the scenes coming lately from Gaza are harrowing. They defy any comprehension. We are talking about small bodies for children pulled lifeless from the rubble of their homes. We are talking about whole families executed in their homes. We are talking about targeting journalists and killing them in a cold blood, burying them in mass graves. We are talking about more than 51,000 Palestinians have been killed since the 7th of October. And above this, even we are talking about bigger numbers when we talk about the breach of the ceasefire that started from the 18th of March until now. Unfortunately, we are talking about more than 2,000 people that has been killed. 60% of them are from women and children. And still the world keeps scrolling. Unfortunately, this is so inhumane. And we would love to say that this is not a war. This is a calculated destruction of a nation. This is genocide, ethnic cleansing. Because when you are targeting women, you are targeting the ability for a nation to produce itself again. When you are targeting children, you are targeting the future of this nation. So this is the situation that's happening now in Gaza, unfortunately. And it's not only limited to Gaza. It goes beyond. It goes to the West Bank. They are targeting the Palestinian leadership. They are targeting the Palestinian refugee camps. We started in Jenin refugee camp, and then it moved to Tulkarem. Now they are carrying a systematic cleansing also of the refugee camps in Nablus. And this comes also in line with the Trump position from UNRWA to freeze the funding of UNRWA. And this means that the whole concept of geographical policy of the refugee camps has to be dismantled. We are talking about the Palestinian refugee camp in Jenin. More than 40,000 people has been displaced. And it has been announced lately that this place, the refugee camp of Jenin, is not a place that people can return back to live in. So we are talking about a calculated destruction of the whole entity of the Palestinian state and the whole entity of the Palestinian people, unfortunately.
Ambassador, obviously countries like South Africa and many others, they went to the ICJ, but we're seeing this enormous pressure from Washington for South Africa to withdraw the case. What do you make of such calls, especially because this is fairly advanced in terms of this particular case, and also where it was very clear from the measures for Israel to prevent any act of genocide, but we haven't seen any difference on the ground?
Unfortunately, Israel is an entity that considers itself above the law, and it is encouraged to do so by the complicity of the international community, especially US and the Western European countries, unfortunately. But As I mentioned before, we always thankful for South Africa and for their unwavering support that is shown recently and always on the many different platforms, especially that when the presidency and Minister Lamola, Minister of International Relations, they explained that South Africa will not withdraw their ICJ case against Israel despite any kind of pressure. And on this issue, I would love to tap on a very important issue, like the route of Netanyahu's plane when he has to go to Washington from Budapest. He has to detour 400 kilometers to avoid the international arrest warrant. This moment wouldn't have had taken place without the diplomatic and legal track that the Palestinian state has taken from the minute of seeking the recognition of the state of Palestine to the minute of joining the International Criminal Court.